Hello model railroaders, my name's Dave. Welcome to the layout. Well, life interruptus happened for the last couple of weeks, and it's only been this weekend that I've been able to get back to working on the layout and had some success. Did about 11, I believe, wiring of the switches for the control panels, and got 2 control panels done. One here that I'm showing right now got mounted there before my hiatus, so to speak, and this one got finished today, so it's ready to be mounted on that location. And we got the tortoise panel for the yard ready to go, and well, actually the quarry yard, I should say, ready to go. However, I still have to install the tortoises under those 6 turnouts, so that's going to take a little time. Let's see, what else have I been doing? For the roundhouse, kind of laying out a little bit of the track to see where placements can end up being. So that'll be after I get the control panels installed and wired in. That's going to be the next project. We've got the ash pit and the coaling tower installed. I'm going to have to dig out my sanding shack, and I don't actually know what they call the containment that all the sand is in. I'm gonna have to look that up, and also install the watering and sanding towers. So that's something that will end up happening. The tortoises on this section are already installed, so it's just a matter of sorting this out and seeing if I'm going to add a bit on here into this corner to support more track running off the turntable for engine placement. So I'm going to see from that side and from this side how that will go, if 12 is enough, or 14 if I really need to extend out into the aisleway. It'll just make getting into that corner a little more difficult. However, you know, we'll see how it looks. Something else that I did was I pulled down out of storage the bit of scenery that I had created before I had to pull the old layout down prior to us moving to our current home here, and I wanted to try placing it here just to see for a scenic break. And this will not be its actual location in any permanent basis. It's actually too big for the gap between the tracks, but I just wanted to see how it would look, and I'll lower down here so that it's more at that height, so you can get an idea how it looks. Now what I have done is cut some cardboard up, and the foreground piece of cardboard is about 7¼ inches, and the back piece of cardboard is about 8¾ inches. So that kind of gives me an idea of how high I want to go with the divider. I can't have it go too high because I will have only single light over the section, and I don't want any shadows cast by the backdrop. So I'm going to end up playing around a little bit with the cardboard, I think. These two sections here were actually over a 11-foot long tunnel portal. I guess tunnel is the word I'm actually looking for. From the old layout, the bits of foam here that are painted brown and have the Woodland Scenics stumps glued onto them, those bits of foam were at the back, and these black painted pieces here were actually made up the tunnel walls and the ceiling. So they'll probably get reused somewhere on the upper layout, and that's more likely where this piece will go. It was going to be the top part of the logging run that I had set up, but it'll get reutilized somewhere on the upper layout. Just haven't decided where, but after all the work put into it, making things modular in that sense, because I had to be able to pull everything off if something detached, if any of the cars detached within the tunnel itself. So that allowed me to be able to rescue this piece, and it didn't end up going in the dumpster, so to speak. So since the last video, these two C630s that are kind of sitting in the yard but not on track, they were the culprits for my consist when I was challenging how many N-scale locomotives I could run on the DB150 base station. And my consist was slowing down and speeding up, and I couldn't figure out why until I split the consist up into its individual locomotives, and I just ran them, because since the move, those locomotives have been remained in their clamshells, so or just up on the display board, if you will. I've got my locos now on, and these two would travel along and then slow down and then speed back after a bit and then slow down again, almost to a stop sometimes. And they are non-sound. They're Atlas factory lens decoders were in them, and I say were because now they're dummy locomotives. I pulled the decoder and the engine and the worm gears out, leaving just the trucks and those gears. So those two are going to end up being added to the coal train. One will go as the trailing locomotive behind the three at the front of the train, and one will go 2/3 of the way down with the two Burlington Northern SD40-2s that I've got pointed in the reverse direction. So the one at the back end will be pointing forward, the one after the three lead locomotives will be pointing backwards. So that'll just kind of round them. Those engine consists out a little more prototypically of having reversed and forward locos. So that's where that is. So the only other thing while I'm standing here, that I've got the quarry, the two turnouts there wired up to its control panel, and that was salvaged from my previous layout. It got chopped down from a previous control panel board, so it was just that section remaining. I still need to go and mark and put the main line track depiction for the second line at the bottom there to make it more identical to what's actually down on the layout. but that's a minor thing. Getting that up and properly controlling is was the goal, and it's working out well. And I guess actually here's a good spot where I can show you actually what I'm doing, where here is the two connections up to the power bus for the tortoises, where I'm just using those eye crimps and the nut and bolt to secure them together and provide the power to the control panel. And then at the bottom I've used the bullet style for the one side and the spade and its opposite. I don't know the name, sorry, without looking at the packaging. And that way these can be disconnected. The second set over here can be disconnected. That can be unbolted to undo those lines, sorry. And then the control panel can be unscrewed and taken out if an LED burns out, or the unit has to be moved for any reason. So that's the way I'm doing all my control panels, that if I ever have to relocate, that everything being built modularly, that it'll be easy to take down, move, and set back up again without the loss of any wood, any track, any cork, any scenic material. Just make things a lot more, what the word am I looking for? Less wastage, I guess. Hopefully I will get to enjoy this layout for quite a lot longer. I always look at model railroading as a long-term hobby and not a short-term, because as long as you can spend some time working on your layout, then the hobby is still alive. And what other hobby can you do? Woodworking, electronics, programming, scenery, painting backdrops. You know, it just has such a wide assortment of disciplines that can be utilized within our hobby, that there are very few other hobbies that can be an outlet for creativity, woodworking for the craftsmanship aspect of it, city planning, infrastructure planning for how to lay out the layout, the track, the yard, the towns, how it all flows together, the industries that you're going to use. It's definitely a hobby that never gets boring. So at this point I'm going to end the video so that I can get some wiring done, so I've got something to show in the next week. And at this point I'll just say bye for now, and I hope as the weather gets cooler that whoever's watching gets to go to any local train shows and enjoy the looking around at the booth, seeing what you can't walk home without, but picking up to add to your layout. And I hope that you're able to get down to your layout and do something, because that's why we're in the hobby. So bye for now.